It is Indiana in the morning on WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Clinton Smith, Galen Bargerstock. We just heard the GCES spot there, and here we are in the month of December. We're heading toward the end of a year. Let's talk a little bit about finance, about retirement, and about saving for it. And I told you last time when you guys were here that I would have a question from a listener. And so I asked my listeners, hey, do you have a question for Clinton and Galen?
Perfect.
And it was interesting. The questions that I got were questions that we've had before that people just can't become convinced of.
Okay.
And the number one of those is, how do I know I have enough to retire on? Now, I know what your response is going to be, but let's go over it again, because those are genuine concerns that people, it's a worry.
Yeah, I would say it's probably the number one question that we get is people want to understand how much money they're going to make when they retire. So the question of, do I have enough money? That's different for every person out there. So it's really hard to explain that answer, right? But ultimately, when you sit down with Galen, he's going to go over how much money you make now, and then he's going to figure out all of the things that are going to pay you during retirement, like your pension, your 401k, any investments that you have, money from inheritance that you might draw on, anything that you have saved, Social Security, your spouse's income. He's going to put that all together and compare that to how much money you're making now. He'll also take stuff like taxes and things out of there that you won't be paying whenever you're claiming your retirement income. And he'll figure out what your income is going to be at certain dates and ages. So you could say, hey, Galen, I want to retire next month, or hey, Galen, I want to retire in 3 years. Can you show me what the difference is? The easiest way for us to break it down and show people, are you going to have enough to live, is to break it down and compare it to how much money they're making right now. So really it comes down to a loss or an increase in income. And then from there you decide, hey, I can make that work.
Yeah. Galen, there are plenty of people that say to themselves, I could live the rest of my life if I continued to make the same amount of money that I'm making now. But when I retire, that income is going to go away and have to be replaced by something. Figuring out what that something is what you do.
Yeah, I mean, like Clinton said, to each his own. Like, I don't know how much money that a person needs for retirement. That is a question that I can't answer. That's something that you have to answer for yourself. But I can guide you down the path of deciding whether it's right or not. Number one reaction with everybody, it's your gut reaction. You're going to know if you're ready to retire. If you hit that magical age where you can start collecting Social Security, or maybe you're getting Medicare. I have people that are waiting to retire for health insurance reasons. That 65 is a big age as well. But what it comes down to is you have to be able to pay your bills, and you have to have enough money coming in to support your lifestyle. And you have to take into consideration that milk might cost $7 a gallon, in 10 years from now. So you have to give a little bit of, preparation to a side fund in case.
When somebody retires, there are changes in their life in terms of the expenses that they'll pay. They will pay less in commuting costs going to the job. That means less wear and tear in the car. They might be driving their last car right now, and they really haven't thought about that. So they won't have that added expense. Tires cost a whole bunch of money. All of those different things, fuel costs and everything like that. At the same time, by being home more often, they're using more electricity at home, and the water bill goes up. All of those different factors that go into fashioning whatever this life is going to be. It's difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's not a sure science.
Travel is going to go up more. You're going to be, although you're going to be commuting less, you might be traveling more. Do you know what I mean? You might be spending more time with family also too. So it's really looking at how much money you're going to make and compare it to now, and really looking at the things that you're paying for. When Galen sits down with someone, we get questioned a lot. Should I pay off my house? Should I pay off my cars? Because people, there's multiple ways to look at it, but people are comfortable not having that monthly bill, but some people are more comfortable having money in the bank and making the payment over time, knowing that they have the money coming in to pay it. So, it's up to your personal preference, but Galen can really show you. And two, there are dates and ages that no matter what, like, hey, sorry, the IRS isn't going to let you retire because they're going to charge you so much in penalties and fees because you're too young. So there are different examples of times that, hey, I have to work until this date. I have to wait until this age to get my pension. So there are times where you're kind of tied to a date or an age just off of the rules of whatever it is that you're drawing income from. But Galen can go over all of those things with you. You know, he can talk about Social Security, investments, all of the things that go into what's going to give you income in retirement.
Galen, here's the second question that I got this week when I asked my listeners. I said, what can I ask Clinton and Galen when they come in? It was about retiring and reaching that age down the year road a bit when you've been retired a while and you have to go into a nursing facility, a personal care home or something like that. And they said to themselves, I don't want to have lived my entire life making money so that I can give it over to a home that's going to take care of me for the rest of my life. It's great that those homes exist and that there are people that can do those sorts of things. But at the same time, we understand their concerns.
Yeah. I mean, long-term care insurance, and that's something that you need to think about, you know, price-wise, late 40s, early, mid-40s, somewhere in that ballpark. I would say put it into life insurance or wrap it into, you know, an annuity as a rider or something like that, because you don't know for sure that you're going to go to that facility. You know, and I actually started in long-term care a long time ago, marketing for it. You know, I think the average is like 2.75 years is what a person is expected to live at a facility, but they're very expensive facilities to go to. You know, I see everybody's accounts as well. You know, what everybody was brought up to do was to save for that rainy day. And unfortunately, people aren't spending their retirement money. They're holding on to it thinking that they're going to save that for a rainy day. And now all of a sudden, that scenario you got hit with, you just saved all that money and now you're just using that for long-term care and you didn't live along the lines with it. So, you know, with the retirement accounts, I encourage people to take a look at them and have that open conversation about how would that work if I started taking money out on a monthly or annual basis, just to give a little back to yourself.
A part of that as well, Clinton, is that we don't know how long we're going to live after retirement.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has a different health picture. Everybody has a different idea of how in shape they are, or how, you know, we're going to avoid this, we're going to do that, we're going to live a healthier lifestyle, and then they don't.
Yeah. Eat less carbs, no pizza, stuff like that. You know, everyone's trying to be healthier, and none of us know. And I think that's why Galen is saying, okay, so an example, I know Galen met with a client a long time ago, and he sat down and she had policy after policy like she literally bought a policy from everyone she ever met with. And Galen's trying to go over with her and organize them. And in there, he found like several cancer policies. And so he's talking to her and he's like, has anyone in your family ever had cancer? No. Anyone ever? No. So why do you have cancer policies? And she didn't know. She didn't care. She didn't even know what she had or what she was paying for. But the long story short is that she's paying all this money for cancer policies that she's never going to claim on. So Galen mentioned it very quickly. Whenever we, you know, if an annuity is right for you and you want an annuity, we have annuities that have long-term care built inside of them. So you can get them as an extra bell or whistle, an add-on to that annuity is what it's called, a rider or an add-on. So you can add that on to your annuity and have long-term care covered inside of your annuity. You're already doing the annuity. It's not going to cost as much as if you would do long-term care on the outside. You can do long-term care on the outside. We can help you set that up. But a lot of times we feel like it's better to use it in another vehicle in different ways, to add it onto life insurance inside of a life insurance policy rather than having a standalone long-term care policy. And we can look at the prices, show you the differences between all of them, but oftentimes it's better to add it into something else. Then you have the coverage if you need it, but you're not paying and wasting money for it at the highest amount that you would be possible doing in its policy on its own.
All right.
Because you might not need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This was a question I got that I know we've addressed this before, but address it again, Galen, because this is something that's difficult for people to understand, and that is, especially at this time of the year, there's deadlines for Medicare and things of that nature, and every year we're getting bombarded with messages. You have until December 7th or whatever the date happens to be, when you have to make a decision, or else the world is going to fall apart. And what do I do about Medicare? What should I sign up for? What should I not? All of these different things. And it's a part of the financial picture that people are planning for their retirement, but there's so much confusion out there about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to consider when you're talking about Medicare is if you're going to get a standard plan or an Advantage plan, which is the Medicare Part C. Advantage plans, you have to stay in a network. If you don't mind a network, they can be a very great cost-effective vehicle into retirement. You just have to stay in that network. It's not really designed for people that I would say travel a lot, unless you're going with big name brand heavy hitter, or a standard plan. But you can go wherever you want. It's a little bit more expensive. AARPs, I think United was the best price a couple years ago, last time I sold it. But we now have a person that if somebody calls us and has Medicare, I can refer to her name is Jen, and she can help you decide what is correct for your zip code.
Also, GCES now has somebody on staff who can help them answer whatever their Medicare questions are.
Yeah, it's through foundations. It's not technically me, but it's inside of our network and securities that it's somebody that I trust to help somebody, pick that Medicare plan.
Boy, that's a big thing. That's a big deal, isn't it?
We can always answer those questions. Galen could have always answered them. It's just a lot of questions.
Well, it's not just the questions, answering the questions. That I'm fine with. It's having to test and take these recurring tests for all these different products for lines that I don't really sell. So that's kind of why the health insurance always went to the sidelines, because the financial picture and life insurance is bigger to me.
Yeah.
Typically in our industry, people that do Medicare only do Medicare.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
It's a big enough handful on itself.
We've sold it. It's not, we don't sell it to the point that it makes it even worth it for us to sell it. We can answer all the questions about it, but ultimately you're better off going to someone that knows more about all of the products that are out there, because they change so frequently that we're not on top of it as much as we should be. So we have someone inside of our bubble that we refer everyone to.
That's perfect, actually. That's a very good thing. All right, so folks want to learn more about any of these questions or have other questions related to their retirement savings, what they should do as they get to the end of their work life, or even if they're at the beginning of their work life and they can begin planning now, what should they do, Clint?
Give us a call, 724-915-0000. It's all zeros. 915. The rest is zeros. I don't know how many I said there, but just give us a call. Our office is right here, right 2 doors down from Renda, 43 South 9th Street. You can also look us up online. There's all of our interviews on here with you. And our website is GCES, like Government Civil Employee Services.us, like United States. You can look us up on there. Check us out, see all our videos, get a copy of our book, stuff like that.
Beautiful. All right, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Coming up, a couple of moments away from now, it is Boomer Sports. Then Matt is with us from the WCCS newsroom. It's a Monday, December the 1st. We're on the way to 34 degrees today.